But you were saying like how it's just the most amazing experience, and how differently it feels right now.
I feel much different. I feel more calm, more content. There's a larger sense of peace. There's no push or um, desperation or need to do or be or have anything. It's just this flow of God. I wish I could explain it.
No, just keep going with it.
I wish I could. I wish I could explain it. It's like a flow, but there's nothing. There's no force behind it. It's a gentle flow of. I'm just so much more aware of the loving presence. Just so much more aware of it, and there's no need to prove myself or be right or um, find my way or fix a problem or all those things because it was never a problem to begin with. Except in my thoughts, right? So, and I find myself in situations like even in the last day, I find myself in situations um, where I'm like, there's no problem. Like if somebody else is getting upset, there's no problem here. Um, Let me just explain where I'm coming from, right? Like, there's no need to get angry. Let's talk about what's happening here and let me explain myself so that you understand where I'm coming from. And there's no reason to feel overwhelmed or, um, although I did briefly feel overwhelmed this morning because Peter's incorporated the company and there's a whole bunch of stuff that's involved in the transition, and I was kind of freaking out, and then all of a sudden I went, ah, what's what's the difference? Like whether I know or I don't know, whether I make a mistake or I don't make a mistake, it's everything can be sorted. Um, so it was a very short lived, ah, and then it was like, oh yeah, it's not a big deal. It's never a big deal except when we make it a big deal. It's never nothing's ever a problem unless we choose to see it as a problem. Um, and I think that perspective is amazing. And I think it sounds like such a small, in my mind, it sounds like such a small shift, and yet it has reaped such huge reward in the end, as in the change in me that it's facilitated is amazingly huge, and yet it seems like such a small adjustment in perspective. So I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah,
Very interesting.
yeah. You know, yeah. Sometimes it's not the big changes. Sometimes it's a tiny tweak in perspective, as you brought up earlier, and it opens up a brand new realm of understanding and anchoring, where you're coming from, in interacting with life, how you interact with life.
Yeah, I know. I'm still sort of in this weird. Um, how do I explain it? I mean, this it's. I don't want to say fog because that almost sounds like a negative thing.
Afterglow.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I think that's what it is. This kind of afterglow that's just like, oh, this is so friggin' amazing. You know, I mean, I don't know why anybody wouldn't want this because it's so much better than that. And it's really in the end not that hard to get here. It only looks hard from the other side, you know, um, as most things do. Um, you know, like this business transition that I'm talking about. It only looks scary um, from the front end, but as you go through it, it's that whole thing about crossing the threshold. You know, what can I say? I talk about that a lot, but it holds a lot of importance and it holds a lot of weight from my perspective in that growth, that personal connection to that loving presence, which is amazing.
Yeah. We're so quick to forget the temporary nature of everything. You know, everything is temporary.
Yep. The only
And
constant is change, right?
yeah, you know, and that the concept of resisting feeling sad or um, you know, the fear, we think, you know, when we fear something, we think that the fear is gonna like always be there, like mistakenly. Like we always try to make permanent that which is so obviously temporary. And that can go from anything from resisting a, a fear about anything, a conversation, a life change, whatever. And honestly, it goes for our seduction to to marriage. I have, you know, if I'm speaking my truth, it's trying to make permanent what is so obviously temporary.
Mm-hmm.
And all we have to do is just worry. All we have to not even worry. All we have to do is take care of ourselves in this moment. Truly feel, remove the blockages, and your life will be all that you want to dream it to be. It's all available to you in this moment. You know, when you say there was no problem to begin with, I just made it up. Um, and then when we get attached to that problem, we our emotions get involved, and then hormones get sent through our body. We think it's like this is like the most important thing in the world, and in a way, it is. I mean, the most important thing in the world is the thing you're doing right now. But there's tremendous opportunity and power in that, and we feel like the fear will be forever if we go and attempt to uh, go at it head on.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, it was one of the first things that when we first met, it was one of the things that you first said in one of the meetings that just like hit so hard. And it's like, oh my gosh, she's absolutely right. And you know, Hannah and I talked about that afterwards a lot, and it was like, wow, like I never thought of it. Like even with, you know, I was 10 years into books, and I never thought of it that way before. And it's such a gift, really, you know, when you hear these things and it just breaks through. And I know it's been a big thing in your life, and it always comes up because it's so relevant and prevalent. It is only there the moment before you do it on the threshold, and once you get through it, it's thrilling. And you can watch an 8-year old jumping off of a diving board. It's the same. You can watch it happen, and it's the fear, it's the fear, it's the fear. Then you jump, and then it's thrilling. It's like, oh my god, I'm feeling so much right now. And then you go, you just land in the water, and you just feel so happy and proud of yourself and excited and like accomplished. And that's what it is every time. And even when, you know, your example earlier about all I have to do is just speak my truth, speak my perspective. I don't have to get all wound up in it. And then it's like the fear of doing that is real. It's so real. You know, what if this person then rejects me? What if this snowballs into a bigger argument? What if I damage this relationship by speaking up for myself? You get all this fear. They get this fear ball in the middle of us, and then we do it. We do it in a calm and loving and in a loving and peaceful way. And then we feel that exhilaration again. Oh my God, I spoke up for myself. I said what I felt without making it a big deal. I represented my true self. I was honest in a situation where before I wasn't. And you feel that exact same feeling of accomplishment and excitement, and you feel alive, and you feel like you've honored yourself, and you feel like you've grown. It's no different than jumping off the diving board when you're 8. And we're presented with these opportunities so often, multiple times a day. And understanding that fear dissipates the moment you cross that threshold.
Mm-hmm.
But we think it's such a bigger thing than it is. It's temporary, sometimes
Yeah.
fleeting, even.
Yeah. And the interesting thing is, I think that when we cross that threshold of fear, we cross into love,
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
right?
Yeah, you're right.
Because that's all there is on the other side of it. It
Yeah,
really all is all there is. And when you were saying about, we think the fear, if we look at the fear, it'll always be there. Um, it comes and goes. I mean, anybody who's recognized their fear recognizes that it does come and go. So does love. That
yeah.
that recognition of love comes and goes. And what happens is when we get into a relationship and we hit one of those periods where that recognition of love has disappeared temporarily, we think there's something wrong with the relationship.
Hmm.
We think there's something wrong with what's happening with the other person, that they're not fulfilling their end of the deal, or you're not feeling the same about the other person. But that's not what's happening. It's just that you are going into periods of forgetting who you are. And if we can be a reflection to our partner of that love, we can remind them who they are.
Yeah, yeah. By being in that place of loving presence, we can truly lead. We can truly lead when the other needs the leadership, but not to think about it in that way, like, oh, here I am, um, helping them uh, move. But yeah, being in that place yourself, your environment becomes it. What energy is going to win?
Love always wins.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. It's a very different type of relationship when you are living in it in that easy flowing, the ebb and flow of it. Like some days I'm the teacher, sometimes some days I'm the student. Um, but I'm always in it full on and open to what's going on, and doing my own personal clearing. Um, I don't even want to, like, I've always called it work, but is it work? No, it's just a letting go. It's just a letting go. It's like after a hard day at work and you come home and you just sort of on the couch. That's the point at which the letting go happens. Definitely. So I think it is more of a letting go, more of a surrendering than it is work. And
yeah,
that idea that vulnerability is the bomb. It's the key. It really is the key. It's not being afraid of vulnerability, because it really is a strength. It's not a weakness. It's definitely a strength, because it takes great courage to be vulnerable. And anything that takes courage can't possibly be a weakness. I From my perspective.
yeah. And it, like, vulnerability is like just the ultimate aphrodisiac.
Right? Isn't
There's
it?
oh my God, there is nothing like it, and it's in a league of its own.
Yes, because what happens when you see someone else vulnerable? You just want to envelop them with your love and caring and compassion. right?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, totally.
Yeah. As a, I'm just, thinking about the times, just that feeling, it just overtakes you. That aphrodisiac feeling, it just overtakes you. Like I need to make this love real, right? And of course it's real already, but it's like I need to up the intensity. Um, it's unbelievable, and
Yeah.
it's, boy, when figuring that out, maybe that was the greatest. That's the greatest thought I ever had, was
Yeah.
figuring that out. Because
Yeah.
my God, the pleasure that it welcomes into your life, and you understand what you're actually after. Because
Yeah.
sometimes we think we're after the side effects. We're after all the things that are a result of that, and doing those things without the meaning, without the vulnerability, you don't know why it's so empty. You don't know why it doesn't fulfill, it doesn't satisfy. And boiling it down, making the distinction of what you're truly after in an experience. What is your outcome? What are you actually trying to get at? Um, it's a great question too, in all interactions,
Yeah.
because we can cut through all the
I want
crap
to
and all the
feel
surface.
good. I want
Yeah,
to feel good. I want to feel good.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
It's not
yeah.
as hard as you're making it.
I know. Yeah,
Right.
these six things have to happen in order for me to feel good. It's like you're,
Yeah.
yeah. But I mean, hey, we all do it. I still
Yeah.
do it. But boy, I used to
Yeah.
do it a lot more.
And I'm would never for a minute say that this lovely feeling that I'm having right now is going to ebb and flow just like everything else. Um, but I'm going to be in the experience right now, and I'm not going to worry about it going away tomorrow or how long it's going to be here. I'm just going to enjoy it in the present moment because that's what it's about.
Yeah, yeah. It connects you to gratitude as well.
Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah.